Hey everyone, welcome back to the studio. Carson here with another show and tell for you today. Today we'll be talking about my idol of fertility. Go back a couple months from now, I had just gotten my 3D printer and didn't really have any idea how to use it, starry-eyed, trying to figure out what's going on. So Father's Day rolls around, I'm like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity. I can make something for my dad, super cool. So I basically, start scouring Thingiverse. I'm like, what can I make? And then all of a sudden it came to me. I could make the idol from Indiana Jones. My dad absolutely loves Indiana Jones. As you can see, so do I. We've always been huge Indiana Jones guys. We just love it a ton. So I thought that would be the perfect opportunity to make him something super, super cool for Father's Day. And I had always wanted to make the idol of fertility, but I was never able to, I just didn't have the means to make it. You either like, I can't sculpt. I definitely cannot sculpt this. There's literally no way. So it just wasn't happening. So couldn't sculpt it. So basically the only way I could ever have one is if I bought one, and I don't have the money for that. So I got a 3D printer, and sure enough, here we go. That was my one of my first major projects on my 3D printer, and it was so awesome and so exciting to complete. So I found the file on Thingiverse for free, and I at first tried to print it with this orientation, which basically there would have been supports, like all in here, and it just wasn't going to be good, basically. So I actually split it straight down the middle like this, long ways, and then I laid it on the bed like this with two halves and printed them in two sections. And so after that, there was basically no support. There was like support like right here. That was really it. So that turned out super easy. I got the two halves together. I, glued them together like this, and that was really about it. I glued them together, and then I started the Bondo and sanding process and stuff like that. So actually, you can see very, very closely. I'll get some better shots of that. But you can still just barely see the split down the middle. Not very much in the front. You can see it right here just because it's so hard to get in there and sand. In the chest area, and then like you can see it somewhat obviously in the back down the middle, just because it's so hard to get into all these, like these hair, whatever texture kind of things that it is. So I wouldn't say it's perfect, and then you can see it, in the like butt area, you can see the crease. It's just really hard to sand in there, and so like there's no way it was gonna be truly perfect. But when I just show it like this, you'd never even know. Like it looks perfect, which is one of the problems, when you are judging your work from a person on YouTube. Like, this looks perfect. I look like I did incredible. You can't even see anything. But I'll show you some close-up shots. You can see on the insides of the ears are kind of gross looking. You can't, there's no way to sand in there unless you have like a Dremel and you put Bondo in there and Dremel it out, and Bondo and Dremel it out, or something like that. And there's also there's crease lines in here, crease lines in here. The hair texture does not look incredible. I mean, this is all, I have really high standards, so that's also why. But I am really proud of the way the whole face looks, and at face value what it looks. It looks so smooth and good. So I am really proud of it. And, obviously from here you'd never even know. So I did the whole, sand Bondo process, and the primer filler, and just did that lots and lots and lots of times, tons of sanding. I actually had a really hard time making all of the facial features smooth because they're just so smooth and flat. I really had to sand a lot, like with high grits and stuff like that, to turn them into a little better. But it's definitely turned out into something I'm really proud of, and it looks a lot more shiny on camera as well when I have, obviously lights shining on me. But it still looks very good, like just sitting on the shelf. Uh, my dad keeps in his office downstairs, and it just blends perfectly right into his bookshelves, and he's got a bunch of other junk on it, which is I think is so cool. I've always had the dream of just owning all kinds of cool, obscure props and stuff like that from movies and just from whatever that are hidden, just in plain sight in your house, and it makes you feel like that extravagant, really crazy, interesting old guy who has all these artifacts just everywhere in his house, and there you're like, oh, what's that? And he's like, oh, I got this on my trip, to the something jungle when I was like 17 back in the 1920s, and oh yeah, I got this idol when I was searching through the Indian Himalayan whatever. So I've always been fascinated with that thing. That's one of my obsessions about props, is that I want to own, like my dad has this just sitting in his bookshelves in plain sight, just kind of in blending in with everything else, which makes it really cool because if someone doesn't know what that is, it just looks like this weird, freaky little golden idol man thing just sitting in his bookshelf, and it definitely gives off that vibe. I think it's really cool, and that's what I want to keep having. Like Harry Potter stuff just sitting around, hidden in everything else, or stuff like this, and so I think that concept is really cool. So with that being said, I also love the experience of owning a prop. So like this, for example, is very light. Um, I could it looks like solid and good, but it's actually super light. Like it weighs almost nothing because it's like 20 or 10% infill or something like that. So it's actually very light. So I've actually, me and my dad have talked about cutting a hole in the bottom and then filling it with sand and then filling it back up or something like that, and making it really heavy, like it would feel like solid gold. Um, just because I think that'd be cool when you pick it up. It's like a solid chunk of metal. Um, and that's just the way of anything. Like my Harry Potter robe, I feel like it's so real and quality. I feel like it is a robe that I would wear at Hogwarts, and that like students would wear. Um, just all my stuff. I like that experience of owning it and handling it, and I want the experience of what it is that is from the movies. Like I don't want a thing that looks like the thing from the movies. I want the thing from the movies. That's what, when I see a prop on from a movie or a TV show that I love, I want that. I don't want a thing that looks like it. I want that thing, and I want to experience it in the way that it is shown on the movies, which is something, an odd concept. I have felt like this, but I've been able to put it into words easier through watching Adam Savage. I live for Adam Savage's Tested podcast and his YouTube channel and stuff like that. So I get a lot of ideas from him, but yeah, that's how I really wanted this to be. So, I've thought about, I think it'd be really cool to like plate it, or like cast it in aluminum and then plate it, or like buy some really fancy automotive paint to paint this and make it really really good, like chrome gold, and make it look like it is made of solid gold from the movies and stuff like that. I think that'd be so cool, but maybe in the future we'll see. That's how, like they did C3PO and stuff like that. So you never know. There's the world is open for possibilities. That's really about it. This is my idol, Fertility, from Indiana Jones. I really enjoyed making it. It was super cool. My dad loves it. It fits right into his office, and it just makes me really happy to have. I'll probably end up making one for myself just so I can have one in my room. The same concept. I want my room to look like that crazy guy that has traveled all over the world picking up random junk everywhere. I think that's really about it. I think that's all I have to ramble about today. So if you like the video, if you like this kind of content, definitely check out my channel. I have a series that I'm working on where I'm building a 3D printed clone trooper suit of armor. I also have made a Hogwarts robe that I mentioned earlier, and I will be soon starting a series on how I made that. They're coming on a little slow right now, but don't worry, they're coming definitely. So definitely check out the channel if you're interested in things like this. I just like to make stuff, 3D print stuff, all kinds of nerdy things, and maybe toss me a like for my efforts. You never know. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. This was my show and tell of my fertility idol from Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark. Thanks so much for watching. Think about maybe sticking around. Toss me a like. Hit the subscribe button if you like the stuff. As always, have a great day, guys. Stay safe. Have fun at college if you're getting back to college now. Maybe get out there and make something.